Hi Virgos, and welcome to your September 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about one of my favorite months of the year, which is September. In fact, September is the anniversary of when this channel started in its current format. So I really love this month, and I think that it is such a good month, September, October, and November, especially for any type of astrology, tarot, or other types of self-study. It's a really wonderful period of time as we start to move to the fall season here in the Northern Hemisphere, and then the spring season in the Southern Hemisphere, both of which are of course, very spiritually packed times. So happy birthday to those of you aging up Virgos. I have been really looking forward to your season because I think that the sign of Virgo is one of the most activated signs right now because we have very heavy energy in your opposite sign of Pisces. Of course, we have Neptune there. Saturn is getting closer, though still in Aquarius. But we have Uranus and Pluto both in the earth signs of Taurus and Capricorn. So the sign of Virgo completes that grand earth trine, which we will be having grand earth trines in September. So we have a lot to figure out about the material aspect of our lives, about the structural methods we're using, and there are many things I think that we can't even predict about September. So it's going to kind of be like just getting through it. I feel that there are some pretty big make or break scenarios coming up for a lot of people in September. And also there is this feeling of the beginning of the end, or the primary phase of the end phase. It's kind of a little bit of a mind warp, I know. But I think that for Virgo, and for your season, there is a realization for most Virgos and most people that a chapter of life has come and gone, or the very final aspect of a long-running momentum starts to eclipse or starts to have a closure. So this could actually take a few months, and I'm feeling for most Virgo people that you enter into maybe a 5 to 6 month long series of events that really thrusts you into the next chapter of your life. Something really is going to be closing off within the next 5 to 6 months for you. And it's important, I think, for you to give yourself as much time as possible in September to really be open to the synchronicities that will show you how to move forward as you are moved into the next chapter of your experience. So as you might have seen in the September comprehensive video, I was talking about how being in the collective sixth house will inspire a lot of people to make big changes to their seemingly normal daily routines. So there is, I think, a big change also in maybe your sleep cycle here, or eating habits, also the way that you're like exercising, or the way that you're moving or having mobility in your life really changes up. The sign of Virgo is so drastically empowered, and on the world stage, this can manifest as like earthquakes or some type of change in earth energy. So that mutable earth energy can express in a complex way, because earth is a very solid, stable thing. And then when you put mutable energy into it, it's kind of like an earthquake, or it's kind of like a transplanting or pruning of a plant. So that is inherently the energy of Virgo. And being that it creates a grand earth trine this month, you have the Capricorn and the Taurus energy very strongly activated as well. There's a completely new formation, or a completely new reality coming in for a lot of people. Big paradigm shift happening over these next few months. And September really is what cues up that change. So for Virgo, in September, you have to really start marking down the things that you don't like, or you've got to start keeping a list of things that you want to change, or things that you feel could be positively changed in your life. Okay, so things are going to change no matter what over the next 5 or 6 months for pretty much everybody, especially Virgos. You know, we have Mercury retrograde happening in your sign. We have, it's a lot. You know, the only problem area is being like too attached, or being too reliant on a very specific kind of outcome. And you could already be starting to see that as you maybe get what you wanted for such a long time, or as the universe starts to queue up connecting points for you to move toward something you've been dreaming about for a long time, you might see that manifestation and be like, I'm not even going to show up for that. I don't even want to do that. There's this feeling of finally getting what one wanted, or what one was dreaming of. and feeling as if now it's not what we thought it was, or it's the dream that we had before was more about that dreaming process than about the actual materialization. The Neptune opposite Sun energy that will be coming in September will really ask many Virgos, like, what are you dreaming of? What are you wanting? What is it like when these dreams actually come true, or when you actually accomplish your goals, whether it's a dream or a goal? These two things, like Virgo is very much goal oriented and Pisces is very much dream oriented. That's your axis, right? And as I'm like seeing your cards and looking at your cards, I'm prone to think that it's more about getting the small aspects of your life together, so pretty much anything can fly, and pay really close attention to, okay, I don't want to sleep, I don't want to eat, I'm like holding myself back from doing these things that my body really needs. I think that for a lot of Virgos, and this is just an intuitive message, that you could solve a lot of problems just by starting to enjoy what you need, or starting to craft a new personal culture around the enjoyment of sleeping, for example. Like if you have insomnia or something, how can you start to really look forward or enjoy the process of sleeping? If you struggle with like appetite or any type of autoimmune disorder, how can you start to enjoy the process of eating healthily? It's not about forcing ourselves to sleep at a certain time or forcing ourselves to eat healthily. It's going to be about starting to want those things. Okay, so this is kind of like a groundbreaking thing for a lot of people. Very sixth house, very Virgo. And I think that that is probably one of the main challenges for you this month, is to get that stuff together and to start letting go of the things that are not like that. Okay, so that part of us that doesn't want to sleep, or that part of us that doesn't want to eat or doesn't want to do these things, we have to kind of start seeing that as a little bit of a danger, don't we? Or we have to see that as like a threat, because, you know, what does sleep deprivation do? What does, not eating well do? Not good things, okay? It's like life-threatening stuff, actually. So we have to actually see maybe the potency of the Virgo 6th house energy as we think, okay, it's so mundane, it's so boring, the eating, the sleeping, the routine, the budgeting, all of this stuff. But this stuff can actually become life-threatening if it gets way too out of order. Okay, so not being able to manage your money. Oh no, over a period of 10 years that determined whether or not we could actually retire or not, or that determined whether or not we could actually do what we wanted to do or not. It's life-threatening, in a way, if we look at it from a certain angle, to not think about budget, or to not think about these small sixth house things. That insomnia, of course, nobody likes insomnia, but that negative sleeping habit over a few years, okay, it's kind of a drop in a bucket, but over 10 years, or over like 20 years with a sleep cycle problem, I mean, this becomes like, imagine the collateral damage that it imposed on one's life. So we have to start to see the bigger gap, or the longer term implication of these small little things that we think, okay, eventually I'm going to get that together. Eventually I'm going to be well enough to face that. Eventually I'm going to kind of solve, that drinking problem, or that coffee problem, or that sleeping problem, or that diet problem. Then you have this long impasse of time, and this actually becomes a much bigger threat than it is perceived to be. So there's kind of, I think, in September for you, Virgo, and collectively as well, I'm talking a little bit about this in the September comprehensive video, there's this feeling of needing to really actually zoom in on the micro. Okay, we really zoomed out over the last few years, and now we've got to maybe actually make a bigger deal out of some of what we consider to be the smaller things. Okay, so a bigger deal out of the time of day that we're sleeping, a bigger deal out of what we're allowing into our body. Okay, food, drink, anything that we're allowing into our house as well, our body, our personal spaces. Okay, these things have to be moderated and understood based on the need of the space. Okay, so what do we really need to eat? What do we really need in our house? I think that these things are going to be really rewarding to iron out over these next few months, so that we're healthy enough to move towards these bigger dreams. But anyway, Virgo, let's talk about your week to week in the tarot. So week number 1 of September, many birthdays happening then. Again, happy birthday to those of you aging up. The Emperor reversed, rooted down by Page of Swords. Okay, you are too much in a consideration of authority. Okay, so your authority over people, your leadership ability, your capability to be the judge or be the decision maker is kind of turning in reverse, because some people could even be like, well, that person can't even like show up on time, or that person can't even like feed themselves properly. Why are they getting authority over anything else or over anyone else? You can start to see these mundane things start to rear their heads in more than just your own health, or in more than just your own life. And for some of you, it doesn't have to do with you at all. This is just like somebody else in your life in the first week of September who is maybe like misusing their authority, or maybe misusing their platform, or even like misrepresenting who they are. Sometimes the Emperor reversed is like power mongerer energy. So people are like really wanting to feel powerful, or feel in charge, or feel strong. And then it's also like they get to see what that's like, or they get to bear those consequences, you know, they get to have that liability. So sometimes with the Emperor reversed, there's a threat to liability, or a threat to decisions that were made. So we want to really see what needs, you know, that gavel banging, and what doesn't. Okay, sometimes the sign of Virgo can want to bang the gavel too much and be the decision maker on things which don't even need that. So you can just like resolve it naturally, or you can just let it face time instead of, you know, really facing it directly head on. That's rooted down by Page of Swords. So you could be having a lot of communication about, you know, who is in charge, who is in authority, who is choosing this and that. There could be like a mix-up, or there could be some kind of different person in charge, or even like having a new boss or a new manager or something who doesn't really understand how things work, yet kind of flaunt their authority nonetheless. And this is actually becoming very prevalent, where you have people who don't really understand how things work, or don't really know the job that they're in, yet they have some type of authority or some type of decision making. So it just kind of has to run its course, you know. So just keep an eye out for that, and make sure that you're not like over assuming authority as well, because you might not actually want it. Okay, it might kind of feel good in the second, but it might not actually be a good liability to have in the long run. So again, really be picky about what authority you take on. I think is really the moral of the first week and September. Like some people are like, I just want power no matter what, or I just want authority, I don't care what it looks like. And that's a big thing that we have to grow out of starting here in September. Sometimes it's way more powerful to say no than it is to say yes. Okay, week number 2, the 6 of Cups rooted down by the 7 of Swords reversed. Okay, you have some kind of transaction happening maybe in the second week, or you have a giving and a taking. You see the 6 of Cups is about charity. It's about nostalgia, sentimentality, and it's about a good feeling, very benevolent giving. And then the 7 of Swords is about the exact opposite. It's about an unfair taking. So you have some type of polarity coming up in the second week of September that's really asking you, Virgo, to reassess what you're giving and what you're taking, what's being given to you and what's being taken from you. Redoing your budget could be good during that week. Also, it's not just money. This is energy for you. Okay, this is mental, because the cups are about emotional energy, and then the swords are about mental energy, logical energy. So I almost think this doesn't have as much to do with money. I mean, it could, but I think this has to do with like what you're giving your very valuable focus to. Oh, this is a great psychic download for you all Virgos. So I don't know if you've been noticing, I've really been noticing this ever since we came into 2022. There's something about this current paradigm that we're in where you have like this very finite amount of focus, or you have a finite amount of like right after you wake up, or right after, for a very small amount of time. It can be different for different people. There's this incredible focus to like really iron things out, or to really, you know, put things together well, but it's very finite and it's very potent, but it's not infinite. So we have to be really good judges, and this is where we do need authority, okay, in our own lives. We have to be very good judges over how we're using that finite focus. And if you're not careful, people are going to have you appointed in their life as an authority figure, solving their problems for them. Ooh, Virgos, isn't that a terrifying thought? That's very Emperor reversed. And then also this next week that we're talking about, where it's like, wow, yes, I'm in charge over someone else. But like, meanwhile, all the stuff that I need in my life is going by the wayside, and I'm solving someone else's problems. But they have me feeling like I'm in charge. But in reality, I'm like a puppet for them. This is a very prominent dynamic right now. And I want you guys to see if that's where you're at. It's very easy for Virgo to be in a place like that. Watch out for that illusion of authority, where you might just actually be doing someone else's bidding and like basically caretaking them and using all this finite focus for their benefit. But you're like doing it because they make you feel like you're in charge or something. Yeah, I really think this is what's happening. Like someone might be taking some kind of valuable resource from you while making you feel good about that. Okay, so this is kind of like maybe manipulation at play here. I do feel that the energy of manipulation could be around Virgos in the second week, so you just want to keep an eye on that. Week number 3, you have the Seven of Pentacles rooted down by the Four of Swords reversed. Similar. Okay, you're drained of energy, okay, or if you're not drained of energy, maybe you've been going at such a high level for such a long time, or you've been being consistent for such a long time that you're maybe overdue for a vacation or overdue for rest. For some people, that's happening in September, and they have to like go to the doctor, or they have to really make a big lifestyle change. I'm talking a big one, and I'm surprised that there's not more of that energy in your reading. Maybe it's not so much you, Virgo, but like the other signs during Virgo season, where I'm seeing so many people having to just totally change their lives because maybe they have like high cholesterol now, or they have like diabetes now or something. I'm not saying that for you if you're listening to this reading, but I'm just giving that as an example. Like some people are getting that diagnosis during September. Some people are also meeting like a incredible romantic partner as well, or having a great career opportunity. These are all catalyst things that cause people to change their behavior. And I feel that in the third week for you. So you're on one hand looking back and you're looking over what you've done, but you're seeing how unsustainable some of it is, or you're seeing how some of it doesn't mix well or doesn't harmonize right. Don't worry if you're having this, Virgo. This is very common right now. And it's teaching an important lesson that we still can't quite figure out exactly what that is yet, but it's happening to so many people. So don't freak yourself out if it is happening to you, where you have like these inharmonious or you have elements of your life or aspects of your actions or history now that just don't really seem to connect well or compute well together or don't alchemize well. Something kind of mismatched. And I know for Virgo, that's a very difficult thing. But it does have relevance because we have the major Capricorn and Aquarius energy over the last few years, which is just like that. It's a mismatched type of energetic combination. So again, it's kind of like a part and parcel of existing during this 2020 to about 2028 time period. So anyway, the third week of September, think about behavior changes, okay? That's an interesting way to put it, behavior changes. What does that make you think of? Okay, that's going to be for you to decide. Like, does this maybe have to do with the people you're letting into your life? Does it have to do with your own daily routines? Does this have to do with what upsets you and what doesn't? Does that make sense to be upset by these things and not be upset by these things? Try to think along those lines to have some type of shift to honor the needs that you're identifying now. Okay, week number 4. This is what I'm excited about for you all. The High Priestess rooted down by the Temperance card. Okay, 2 upright, beautiful, harmonious, well-matching archetypes coming up for you by the end of the month. By the end of September, Virgo, you are a force to be reckoned with, okay? You're like a force of nature or something. Something has happened over the first 3 weeks, and you've maybe like really diagnosed something, and maybe you've set new boundaries. Okay, I think the 4th week would be a great time to redo boundaries. I mean, neither of those cards have much to do with boundaries, but I like it because it's almost like whatever you need to do during the 4th week, you can. Okay, you got that. And it's going to flow well. Like you're more hormonally balanced, so maybe you've rested. You're more spiritually balanced as well. And you have a kind of almost like, I don't know, there's an angelic energy maybe around you or coming towards you right now. So that's going to help your aura. It's a great time for aura healing in the 4th week of September. It's a great time for reasserting your faith. It's a great time for hydration, hormonal balance, emotional balance, re-budgeting. Okay, Virgo season, the best time of the year to start a new budget or to cut costs. And Capricorn season, of course. But I like Virgo even more because it's a little bit more realistic. Sometimes Capricorn can actually be a bit haughty or a bit over the top with its spending, even though it's a very frugal sign. It takes it from that 10th house perspective, where it's like, looking over an empire instead of maybe, budgeting for one individual. So this is a great time for your individual budgeting of time, money, and energy, Virgo, in the 4th week of September. And for really sticking to that and allowing for surplus, mental surplus, okay, emotional surplus, spiritual surplus, and sure, monetary surplus. But those first three are really where it's going to be at for you because I feel a big kind of focus deficit for Virgo in September. And that I think is your biggest challenge this month is reclaiming your focus and letting that be a benefit to you and not just to other people. Let's talk more about that in your extended Virgos. It'll be on Patreon. It'll be linked below and in the center of your screen. I'll get a central theme, 2 supporting themes, and a significator card to understand more about focus, healing, and reasserting your spirituality in the month of September in your season. Come check out the Patreon page, Virgos. I do weekly forecasts. They're only over there every week, and you get all of the readings and all of the extendeds. It's a very valuable offering, and it helps this channel to be possible. So I hope to see you guys over there. Let's do this extended. It's in the center of your screen now. And I will see you soon. Have a great month. Happy birthday, Virgos. Bye.